G'day, my name's Conrouse, and today I want to show you guys how I made a dynamic music switcher in Unity using Bolt. I also want to show how you do this in C# as well. So yep, here's the graph, and it may look a bit of a mess, but it is actually pretty simple, and I'll explain it in lots of detail. But first, I'm going to come up to here, which is what was happening initially. So to play the to get the audio source, instead of inserting it in the inspector, so like make it here going audio source, I'm doing that on start just because I think it's a bit more efficient and do stuff with it and make it into a variable. So I'm essentially doing that. I'm just adding the game object component. So you can find this just by going add component game object, and then I've just made a variable called verse one. Should probably name that better, more like tracks. And then I'm just setting this track equal to this, and then I want to loop it, so I'm gonna go set a loop, and then this, and that's the initial setup for the audio source. Then I've just got this here on a custom event, which is triggering on update. So over here I've got the first part of the system, which is a parameter check. So to switch between the different verses, I'm using a parameter, which I'm doing it this way so that like if it's just a bit more flexible, and it means like the developers can access this parameter from anywhere as it's a scene variable and change it. So just say the player died, they could switch the music, or if the level changed, you could switch the music, that kind of thing. So what I've done is I've just made this super unit, and you can make a super unit by just doing super unit. And essentially what a super unit is, it's just like a macro within a macro. In Unreal Engine, these are just called macros, and then this is like a blueprint. So this is like something you'd use to do like a calculation that you might want to reuse over like multiple graphs, or you just want to tidy stuff up. So what I've done with this super unit is I'm just checking if this verse parameter is equal to a bunch of stuff. So like 0, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm outputting that to and then I'm outputting the booleans to the output of this super unit. So on a super unit, you have like input and output. So if I made just say input float here, and I made that float, then that would make on the parameter here like a little input. So whatever I put in on this part of it here is what's going to come out here. So we could put that in there, and we could get this, and we could assign it here like that, and that would go through there into here and then to there. But for this, it's just easier to have it in here because it's a bit neater. That's gonna go to the boolean, go to the verse one. So now so on the output I've assigned some booleans here. So this is gonna when this is true, so this will, when you hit play, this will just be true or false. It'll go through here, and then that'll come out here, which is going to my multi-branch. So in Bolt, the normal branch looks like this, so you can only have like one like boolean to check if true or false. So essentially what I did is I just made my own super unit where I just made 4 branches for like 4 verses, and then I've got an input which is getting a boolean, goes into the branch, and then if it's true, then it activates this output here. So on a super unit, you can have also control output, so that's just like flow. That's these, not like a value. So essentially the boolean that's coming out of this one is going to go into the input of this one, to the branch, make that true, go to the flow here, and then that's going to fire off whatever is on the end of this flow. So here's the switcher part. So I'm just going to make this a bit simpler looking. So what we've got here is another little super unit I've made, which is checking the time of the audio source. So these audio files will essentially loop. They'll, like, as long as this is playing, it'll loop. So I'm essentially just getting the end of the clip, which I know will transition perfectly to the next clip. And then if that's true, if we hit that value, then we're going to jump to the next clip. So this will output a float variable. And if I try and get an equal to a float, it pretty much, it just doesn't work, because it doesn't ever land on the float not long enough for it to trigger. So what I've done here is I'm doing a round to int, and then I'm saying if this time is equal to the switch time, which is on the input here, which is here, so I've set it to 16 because I know that's how long it goes for, then this will go true here. I'm also getting the time here if I want to debug it. So I'm getting the verse 1, which will be whatever clip is playing, and then the time here, then that'll go into a branch here, so it'll go true. So if we so essentially what will happen is when if I switch this to 1, this one will fire off here, it'll go here, and then it'll check if this is true, so it'll wait for this to, like, for the audio clip to get the 16 seconds, and then this will go true. It'll fire this sequence. Now essentially what's happening here is I'm just going through here to the once. This just makes sure it plays once because we're on update here, and then we set the clip, which I'll get to later. So one thing I should explain is that the reason why we got all these little wires going off to the reset nodes on these other play onces is that if we want to say go to this verse here, and then we want to jump back to this one, as soon as you play the once, it will reset the you won't be able to play it again. So what you need to do, so what I've done is that when you come to this when you play on this one, it'll reset all the other ones. So then just say I go from this one to this one, it's going to go here, and then this one's going to play, and this one's going to get reset, this one's going to get reset, and this one. So they'll all get reset. So up here it might look a bit weird, but essentially all I've done here, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to use this to switch between when the music hits a certain time, but I don't want to do that when it starts initially. I just want it to play when the game starts. So, and if you're ever triggering this in the game somewhere else, like, you probably just want to start right away. So what's happening here is I've got this boolean called music started, which I made here, and then this is going into this branch here. So on the game start, this will fire off, it'll go here, it's not true, so it'll go false, this will fire off, and then it'll play the sound. Then when we switch to like a verse, it's going to come through here and it's going to set that music started to true. Then that essentially means that when we come back here, this is true, so this isn't going to do anything. And then this is checking, so then it's going into here, it's checking if this is equal to true, so we're at 16 seconds. So then they're both true, so it'll go here, false, true, and then fire off, and then it'll switch the verse. I hope that makes sense. I was thinking about doing this as like a follow along, but I just think this might be a better way to explain. But let me know if this is this is a better way to explain things, or if I should just do like a follow along, like step by step. I just thought it would end up being like quite a long video, So this part now, the last part, is where we assign the audio clips. So you're probably wondering at the start why I didn't make 3 different audio sources. You could do it that way. You could make 3 audio sources and switch, but it's actually not really necessary to do that, because you can just make 1 audio source, and then when you switch, you can just set the clip. So all that's going to do is, like, if you have an audio source, that's just going to change this to one of your clips, like on when it's triggered. So essentially for that, you just use the set clip node, which is just set clip. Oh, it's going to be annoying. Audio source, set clip, and then all it's asking for is a clip. So you can just go here and click on it, and which is what I've just done here. I've just clicked here and done that, or you can even put it on a variable. So, and then the audio source that it's getting is here. So I've just grabbed that first variable that I made up here, and then I've just assigned that to all the clips. So all the clips will change that one audio source. And then one thing though is, if you do do it this way and you set the clips, you have to play it right after, because if you set the clip, it'll just stop. So I'm just playing it right after every time I set it. And yeah, that's pretty much, and that's the audio play part. That's very simple as well, I reckon. So this is what it looks like in motion. The verse parameters here are checking for true or false. So number 1 is true because it's set to 0. We go to here. So then that's firing off this sequence here, which is gone false, and then it's played this clip, and it's only playing once. So if I come here now and I type in 1, we'll fire off this one here, because this is now true. It's going to wait for 16 seconds. True, bam, fires off the next verse. Then we can come down to here, we can go 2. So now we're going to here, we're checking again to see if this is true. It was. And now we play the next verse. Now if we want to come back to say 1, we can just put in 1. We'll come back here, play that, and as you can see with the flow, these are all getting reset again. We can come back to 2. Here's the verse parameter. So again, we can see it's checking for all these values and then setting through to true, and then adding and then this one here is just checking those booleans and then setting the branches. So right now we're going to this one here, and we're coming out up here and going through here. But yeah, like, I think one thing I found really good with just all this visual scripting stuff is just that it makes it really easy just to see what's going on. You can see like what's true, what's false, what's firing off, like what values are going through stuff. Like over here's a perfect example, seeing what's going from here to here. It's all just really, and it makes it really easy to troubleshoot. Like if you make this, like when you're making something like this, like you can see like immediately, oh, like if that no flow went through there, I'd be like, what? Like why didn't any flow go through there? Why didn't that happen? And I come back here, oh, it's because of this. Whereas the opposite, when you do something like this with like coding or C#, you're kind of like imagining how this is all working. Like you're going, well, if I do this and then this value goes into there, so then that must mean that's 2, and then that goes there and that's true. And you're like trying to like think it over in your head, like, and imagine it. So when you do it and it doesn't work, you're going, well, did I plan that wrong in my head? Like what is actually going wrong? Like what is actually broken? And if sometimes you might get an error in the console, which will help you to then figure out the problem, but sometimes you might not even get that, and it'll just not work. So then you're like, well, how? It just makes troubleshooting like way longer. Whereas this, you can just look, see, alrighty, this is what's happening. And something's not happening. It's pretty obvious why it's not happening. So yeah, it's pretty. I really like the visual scripting side. Like it's really quick and easy to prototype things and get stuff together. Next, I want to just show how this can be done with a C# script as well. So again, with the Bolt, we made the audio source at start. So this is how you do that in C#. You just go gameObject.add component, and then you type audio source, and then that'll make the audio source on start. And then essentially what I'm doing here is, so in C# an equal sign pretty much means set. So I'm getting this variable versus, which is an audio source, and I'm setting it equal to this game component, this component which we're adding here. So that's essentially the same as we did in Bolt. And then here I'm doing versus.loop, which is equal to, so I'm setting it loop. And once you access a variable in C#, just like how you access in Bolt and you drag off from it and you can do stuff with that, it's the same here. I can just type versus dot, and now I'm accessing anything that has to do with the audio source. So I can play it, set the pitch, all that. And yeah, so that's the audio component. Then the next thing is I'm getting the time. So I'm just doing versus.time, and then I'm using convert to int. That's essentially, in Bolt we've got the round2 node, so I'm making an int, and then I'm setting this variable I've made here, which is audio time. So the serialized field thing here, this is a private variable. Private just means nothing outside this script can access it, only this script can, which is what you want to do normally. You only want to make it something public if you do want some other script to access it. So then I'm using this serializable field to make it so I can see it in the inspector and see what's happening. So I'm getting the time of the audio clip, which is here, of the audio source, and then I'm setting that audio time variable equal to the versus time, so that'll be however long it goes for. And then so that's on update, so it'll be constantly getting the information from here. So then we've got our param check here, which is it's essentially what we're doing is we're checking this parameter value, which is the same as Bolt. We made the parameter value. So currently I've got it as a serializable field here, so we can see it in the inspector. But if I was going to use this practically, I would make this a public static float so that it could be accessed from any script. For demonstration purposes, we'll just leave it like that. This part here is essentially like that that first part of the verse where we were just playing we were playing it, but then we weren't using the switch, the audio time there. So this is that whole setup, but just in C#. So the first part we're doing if param equals 0, so it will, and if music started equals false. So I made a variable up here called music started. So I'm checking if that is false, which it will be. I'm checking if start versus false, which is that's saying it started, and then it's changing the audio kit playing. It's setting start verse to true. So now this is not going to happen. Then this one, so if we go to here, we come back to here, this is going to check if it's 0, and then if audio time is equal to switch time, which is just another variable here. So here I could just I could just say equal to 16, but in C sharp, like if you make a variable of that value, so that's an int value, all I have to do is make an int variable here and then just put that in there, and then it works. So I'm saying if audio time equals to switch time, so the time of the audio is equal to 16, and played, so here what I've done is, because I want to check it, I want to, in C sharp, if you because this is running on update, if I put this on start, it would just like constantly play the audio. So what I want to do, as soon as this it plays, it can't play again. So for that, I'm using an array of booleans, which I've made here. Which, if you want to make an array in C sharp, you just type the variable, you do these little brackets, the name of it, and then here I'm just defining like how many there is. So 4, and then I'm accessing the first boolean within that array, checking if that's false, and then so it will be false. So then so that'll be false. So this can go through, and then music started true, because and the music started true is going to go true every time like as soon as we go to these other ones. And that's essentially what I've done with Bolt, with that little boolean that goes true when we go to the other ones. So that'll be true. So then this will happen, and then this is going to go, the boolean variable associated with this one's going to go true, so this won't be able to play again. So then we come down to so if we want to come to like verse 1, we're going to check if param equals 1. So here's verse 2, so we're going to check if param equals 1, audio time equals switch time, so 16, and then the played this is, now we're looking at the number 1 in the array, and then we're going to check if that's false, which it will. Now all we're doing here is, this is just like those, so in Bolt I had the one play once, and then had the sequence going into the resets. This is essentially all that's doing, and the reset in this is just the boolean. So I'm saying when we go to here, like when we come onto this one, reset the booleans for every other one that isn't playing, so that when we come, so just so I come back here, now this boolean here is now going to be false. When we leave, it's true, but when we come to any other one, it'll go false. So when we come back, it's ready to go. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. I was saying like C sharp is very, you really have to like imagine how this is going to work. Whereas Bolt, you can kind of just look at it and be like, all right, that's what's happening. And like, you can kind of think about what you're going to do it, and then see it happen. Whereas this, you gotta like, you gotta kind of imagine it a bit more. Oh, so the other thing as well, the audio clips for the C sharp, instead of in Bolt, I was able to just click and assign them, but for C sharp, I've made an array of audio clips. So that's just essentially just an array is just a group of like variables, and it's just like a more efficient way of making multiple variables. So I've just done audio clips. I said I have 4 audio clips, and then in the inspector, I just come here with my audio. I go melody 1, 2, 3, pop them in there, and here you can see all those booleans that I made, the audio time, the switch time, and the parameter. So we're getting the audio time here. I can set the switch time to 16 here in the inspector. Oops. The parameter is currently at 0. Got the audio source here. I can go to 1. That's now going to wait till it gets to 16. And now you can see that this boolean has gone true here. Because this is the one that's played, which is here. We can see because this one's now played here, so now we've gone true, so it won't play. Now we can go 2. Whoops. And that switched right away because it was on 16. But it still sounded smooth. Now we can go to 3. Whoops. Back to 1. Go to 2. But yeah, that's the setup in Bolt and in C# script. But if that was useful, just let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe and all that. And I plan to keep doing more videos like this. I did the format like this because I thought the video could be quite long otherwise, and I think this way like you still learn, but it's not like too long and drags on. So yeah, just let me know about like format and everything, what you think would be better. I plan to do some more videos on Bolt soon, and going more into how to do audio on Unity with Bolt. But yeah, anyway, have a good one. See you later.